Hey there everyone, welcome back to the channel. Well, to continue with my festive uploads, I decided to look at one of my favourite Doctor Who specials. Back on the 25th of December 2014, we were introduced to one of the best festive episodes of the show. The incredibly clever and fun Last Christmas, written by showrunner at the time, Steven Moffat. An interesting affair which pits a bunch of humans at the North Pole against the Dream Crabs along with the aid of Father Christmas himself. So, first of all, the narrative. The episode cleverly uses its plot tool, in this case, layers of a dream to unravel the story. Now, I would be the first person to criticise the use of dreams in fiction normally, as it's the most boring and to the point cop-out possible. But here, the layered dream narrative ties to the overall story and is such a fun way to unravel each plot beat. The audience is learning what's happening alongside the rest of the characters. This plot device is implemented with ease and no point did it feel like a hindrance to the plot. I think there was just enough layers to this plot that it felt tight and stuck to the overall story. So, in that case, the plot more or less throws the audience straight into the dream, as Clara hears a noise on the roof and sees Santa crash landed with some elves. So I think this is good for several reasons. The first being just how captivating this is as a cold open. Clara meeting the legendary figure right from the beginning is a fun and enticing way to open up a story. It opens up the audience to the question as to why he is here. It's especially interesting for a character as blunt and logic heavy as Clara to almost immediately accept that Santa Claus could be here. Now, I know Clara has travelled through the cosmos in a phone box, so her sense of belief should be stretched, but even so, Father Christmas should be a bit much, even for her at this point. Santa's appearance on the roof will come to be an allusion to everything happening around them being a dream. He is something that children believe in, a figure that could only exist in a dreamscape. He is the perfect way to illustrate the plot device without flat out telling the audience immediately this is a dream. It also aids in making all of his future appearances across this episode make sense. When Santa comes to save them from the Dream Crabs, it doesn't feel like a random way of escaping as he is established already as a figure in the episode. So, beyond Clara's roof, the majority of the plot takes place in a base at the North Pole. I like this grounded, more down-to-earth setting. It fits most science fiction and seems like a comfortable location for a Doctor Who setting. To me, it seemed like an even more appropriate setting as it sort of represents normality for a character such as the Doctor. My personal reading is that this is presenting the episode's conflict via the setting and characters. A research base in the North Pole is a very logical and stamped in reality location. A world the Dream Crabs are trying to push as real. Compared to a character like Santa aiding the humans during danger, it evokes the argument, that being conflict of reality and imagination, which seems to be a clever way of leaving the characters and the audience questioning themselves all the way through the episode. Back to the scientists. I think for the most part they're fine. They aid in moving the plot along and each have a few comedic moments to break up the tension of the episode. The standout and most fleshed of these characters by far is Shona. She is definitely meant to be the fish out of water character amongst these three. I think actress Faye Marcy did an incredible job bringing this confident young woman to life. Shona is the one asking questions and seems to be the dominant spark amongst the group, while the others are meant to be more traditional sort of scientists in my opinion. I wish Faye Marcy had done more episodes, as her character is one of the most interesting one-off characters during this era of the show. I would go as far as to say if Jenna Coleman had stepped down, then Shona would have made an excellent companion too. Moffat has even said since this episode that he was looking at this as a possibility if Jenna did leave her. It just never happened. So I guess we will never know what Dave actually did. I think the use of Danny to illustrate how the layers of the dream work was very good. Especially to Clara, who would know logically he can't exist. But equally, it seems like the only thing she would want this Christmas is to share it with Danny. This was probably the most traditionally festive as this episode got, outside of Santa's existence as a character. Equally, I think it's the darkest this episode goes as well. The cryptic chalkboard messages from the Doctor cut through the warm and joyous day Clara and Danny are having. Given that these creatures create a euphoric state for the human as they kill them, it would make sense that this would be Clara's perfect environment during the holidays, which ties to the nature of the monster in this episode. Now, I know some people find this one a bit off because there isn't a big bombastic threat, but given the tone and the point of the episode, there shouldn't be. The gimmick behind these villains is dreams. These monsters weaponize human beings' dreams and feast while they're most vulnerable. That is the fear factor here, that at any point you could be dreaming your best dream and not realise that you're being murdered. Yes, the visual on their face is meant to be some level of body horror, but I think it's the goofiest part of their character. They seem more threatening before they plant themselves on your face, like a big grey parasite. Now, the secondary plot interwoven here is the relationship between the Doctor and Clara. Given how they left things at the end of Series 8, they both believe they have moved on happily, Clara with Danny and the Doctor back on Gallifrey, whereas in actuality they both just lied to each other. This episode pushes the pair back together and begins their toxic friendship storyline, which gets explored next series. I think the best way to highlight their need for each other and the good old times is the Doctor meeting a very old Clara on possibly her last Christmas. The Doctor witnessing this and hearing the full and joyous life Clara had was the force needed to get him to admit he was stubborn and wants all the time with his friend back. Now, I know you could argue this as the "it was just a dream" motif, which is fair enough. But equally, I think in this one circumstance, it was okay as the episode earned it as a small resolution. If it had been the way to defeat the dream crabs, then I wouldn't agree. So to conclude, I think this episode is great because it pushes the point of what A Last Christmas is. There is so much meaning to the title. It could be the last Christmas you spend with a loved one. It could be the last Christmas you believe in Santa Claus. It could be the last Christmas to rectify a friendship. Last Christmas took all of its ideas and meshed it into something greater. That is why I love this episode. What do all of you think? Please let me know your thoughts in comments down below. If you like what you saw, can you please hit that like button and subscribe? It will help my channel continue to grow. Merry Christmas, stay close as I try to post new content as often as possible.